You might want to ask yourself why the entire culture is utterly saturated with mass media entertainment from all sides, while the educational system in America continues its stupefying downward slide since the U.S. government decided to take over and subsidize the public school system.
What your government pays for, it gets. When we understand that, then we look at government-financed institutions of education and see the kind of students and the kind of education that's being turned out by these government-financed schools. Logic will tell you that if what is being turned out in those schools was not in accord with what the state and the federal government wanted, then it would change it.
The Patriot Act, Homeland Security, the Military Tribunals Act, and other legislations are all completely and entirely designed to destroy your civil liberties and limit your ability to fight back against what is coming. Currently in the United States, unannounced to most brainwashed Americans, your home can be searched without a warrant, without you being home. You can in turn be arrested with no charges revealed to you, detained indefinitely with no access to a lawyer, and legally tortured, all under the suspicion that you might be a terrorist. It's time to wake up.
The United States of America is the most powerful nation on earth. In itself, this goes a long way to explaining the things it does around the world. At present, it's conducting a war on terror, or more accurately, a campaign against opposition to US domination. Others prefer to call it the beginnings of the Third World War. The United States has an insatiable appetite for conflict, and since going into Korea in the 1950s, it's been at war with someone or other in some corner of the globe non-stop right up to the present day. This drive is now led by the weapons manufacturers themselves. It is a highly dangerous precedent. I call it war corporatism. It is the door of a new fascism being pushed open. And don't be fooled, not all fascism looks like Adolf Hitler. The reality, as we see from the Iraqi invasion, is that the presidency has been captured by the most powerful elements of this corporatism. And this ghastly molecule aims to turn the world into its very own enslaved global market, and the plan is well underway. The attack by Al-Qaeda on the World Trade Center is just one response to it. Is this a conspiracy? Quite the opposite. It is a high-profile project known as the Project for the New American Century. People like Dick Cheney, Donald Rumsfeld, Richard Pearl are the major players among politicians, right-wing thinkers, militarists and industrialists in the creation of the project. The project is a neoconservative manifesto which includes in its toolbox the unbridled use of war in clearing a path for US interests. The will to attack Iraq came entirely from this visible yet sinister group. September the 11th was merely the pretext. Bush is merely the figurehead. And so, who's next, you wonder? Iran? North Korea? France? Britain? None of us really matter to them.
We have before us the opportunity to forge for ourselves and for future generations a new world order. A world where the rule of law, not the law of the jungle, governs the conduct of nations. When we are successful, and we will be, we have a real chance at this new world order, an order in which a credible United Nations can use its peacekeeping role to fulfill the promise and vision of the UN's founders.
Is there a chance that some of your civil liberties may slip while we guarantee the security of this country? Maybe. Maybe.
A satellite that can spot them down to a few feet. Electronic boundaries like those we impose on pets could be set up for these inmates, and surgically implanted electrodes could even shock them until they return to where they're supposed to be.
One thing we could implant would be a subliminal implant. In other words, basically messages being typed into the subconscious constantly. Do the right thing, do what's required of you, be a good citizen, don't disobey the law.
They have volunteered to be the first ever to have microchip identification devices implanted into their body.
After 9/11, I was really concerned with the security of my family.
I wouldn't mind having something planted permanently in my arm that would identify me. If we don't do something people are going to stop flying. If they stop flying, and I don't go to the Giants games, it means the bastards have won.
It's our duty as loyal Americans to shut up and shut up publicly. We expect every American to support our military, and if they can't do that, to shut up. So you keep your mouth shut.
Like anyone would, I am flattered by your fascination with me.
What is at stake is more than one small country. It is a big idea, a new world order.
There is a chance for the President of the United States to use this disaster to carry out what his father, a phrase his father used, I think, only once, and hasn't been used since, and that is a new world order.
Skull and Bones, the elite secret society whose members include some of the most powerful men of the 20th century.
Power and privilege that are cloaked in secrecy. It's not supposed to be the way we do things. We're supposed to do things out in the open in America.
There's also an obsession with death and its trappings.
You were both in Skull and Bones, the secret society. It's so secret we can't talk about it. What does that mean for America?
You both were members of Skull and Bones, a secret society at Yale. What does that tell us? Not much, because it's a secret.
The hijackers were instruments of evil who died in vain. Behind them is a cult of evil which seeks to harm the innocent and thrives on human suffering. Theirs is the worst kind of cruelty. The cruelty that is fed, not weakened, by tears. Theirs is the worst kind of violence. Pure malice while daring to claim the authority of God. We cannot fully understand the designs and power of evil. It is enough to know that evil, like goodness, exists. And in the terrorist, evil has found a willing servant. Evil has found a willing servant.
Evil has found a willing servant. The time has come. For devastation.
As I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I'm gonna bring the revolution to the White House steps. Just 9/11 was bad, but you don't wanna see what's next. They say they're fighting for freedom, but every day we have less. Gas price gouging, tax cuts for the wealthy, middle class disappearing. The corporate media tells me to be scared. The terrorists coming to get me, but we trained them in Afghanistan with the Pakistanis. Keep on, don't follow the money, they all family. ISI, CIA, MI6, you understand me? They ring elections with corporate investments. They want to implant a microchip in a soft one injection. It's time to wake up and smell a coffee. Fast food is like the Gucci remix, killing me softly. The drug administration helps these corporations achieve world domination through the process of globalization. Corporation holds our economy hostage while fossil fuels are polluting the air and making it toxic. Watch it, cause you'll be dead like the Grateful if you believe Fox News. Kleenex and duct tape will save you, but my soul won't be saved by monopolies or posse comitatus. They're taxing our private property. poverty. So join me, don't file for income taxes, fuck the IRS. Freedom will not be confessed. I've dedicated my life to that. I fight to the death with the very little freedom that I have left. Yes, it'll take a genius to see democracy's biggest threat. E-voting, no paper trail and credit got us in debt. To the all-seeing eye, why our troops gotta die? Why doesn't modern technology change the way that we drive? Why do we allow politicians to get on TV and lie with no accountability? Why don't we force them to resign? Consolidating power, minute after minute, hour after hour. When I rock, I break it down like an acid rain shower. They lied about the war in Iraq and the Twin Towers. I'm stern like Howard and I'm far from a coward. The more they try to silence my speech, I'ma speak louder. So listen close, cause you are the only hope for the future of this country. If you don't already know that we've
all they needed was a trigger to put it in place, and that is what 9/11 provided them with.
Diese Leute denken in reiner Machtpolitik. Da spielt Demokratie und Rechtsstaat keine Rolle.
I am always against conspiracy theory. The truth is, conspiracies do sometimes occur.
Ich kann es endgültig nicht aufklären. Das ist nicht meine Aufgabe. Ich kann nur sagen, die offizielle Story ist mit solchen Fehlern behaftet und kann so nicht gelaufen sein, dass eine andere Alternative in Frage kommt.
Michael Meacher en Andreas von Bülow, 2 oud-ministers. De Duitser diende 25 jaar geleden in de regering van Helmut Schmidt. De Brit was recenter minister in het oorlogskabinet van Tony Blair. Deze 2 ervaren politici stellen grote vraagtekens bij wat de Amerikanen noemen de oorlog tegen het terrorisme. En nog belangrijker, ze denken dat er bij de aanslag op 11 september veel meer speelde dan wij mogen weten.
You have to consider what happened before 9/11, at 9/11 and afterwards. And I think a much better explanation than the war on terror, which I think is bogus,
is given by the Project for the New America Century document. That was written in September 2000, just before in the course of the US presidential election, which brought George Bush to power. It was written by a neoconservative think tank. It was called Strengthening America's Defenses. And what it says, I think, gives a much better explanation of what happened before 9/11, of why 9/11 was such a disaster, and why after 9/11 the US was so slow to go after either Al-Qaeda or Bin Laden, or didn't seriously try to do so.
De voormalige Britse minister doelt op dit document, Rebuilding America's Defenses, oftewel de herinrichting van de Amerikaanse strijdkrachten. Dit document ligt aan de basis van het buitenlands militair beleid van de regering Bush.
Dort sagen sie, Amerika muss jetzt, nachdem die Sowjetunion zusammengebrochen ist, das neue amerikanische Jahrhundert sichern, und das muss vor allen Dingen mit Militärmitteln organisiert werden. Es muss der Irak, der Saddam Hussein muss zwar beseitigt werden, aber es ist nichts Entscheidendes. Das Entscheidende ist, dass wir da Militärbasen in die Region bekommen, dass wir Zugriff nehmen auf die Ressourcen der Welt, insbesondere das Öl. Und dazu brauchen wir mehr Militär und nicht weniger. Und das wird dem amerikanischen Volk außerordentlich schwer zu vermitteln sein. Deswegen wird das Jahre dauern, und es sei denn, uns kommt ein Ereignis wie Pearl Harbor, ein neues Pearl Harbor zugute, ein katalytisch wirkendes Ereignis, wo von heute auf morgen die Massenmeinung sich umdrehen lässt in Richtung auf mehr Geldausgabe, auf den Kampf für diese Weltherrschaft. Und genau 12 Monate später passiert dieses neue Pearl Harbor, und die Mitglieder der Regierung nehmen auch sofort das in den Mund und sagen, das ist unser neues Pearl Harbor.
Maar Rebuilding America's Defenses is niet de eerste studie waarin Amerika nadenkt over ontwikkelingen die het land kunnen bedreigen.
Some people would say that I'm being disloyal to the United States because I'm exposing 9/11 as an inside job. I have a responsibility to defend this country. And the very people that carried out 9/11 are the very people that have taken America from being one of the most loved countries in the world to being the most hated. My country is not George Bush and a gaggle of criminal neocons looting this nation. I am a patriot. I bleed red, white, and blue. I love this country. That's why I'm risking my life to do what I'm doing now.
Alex Jones believes that 9/11 was part of an elaborate plot by President Bush to provoke war in Afghanistan and Iraq. The end goal being to secure long-term oil supplies from Central Asia and the Middle East.
People ask, well, why would the government do this? Why would they carry something out like this? Let's be clear. A small criminal group who has the power within the government to orchestrate something like this would do it to mobilize the American people as an engine of global domination and power. They do this so they can be dictators. They do this so they can set up systems of control. They do this so they can funnel the economy through their war coffers and fund all their friends and family. We're talking about trillions of dollars here.
Because of you, our nation is more secure and Iraq is free.
The theory that President Bush would not blanch about killing thousands of innocent Americans in collateral damage to launch this war of global domination is entirely plausible to the conspiracy theorists.
We've invaded 2 sovereign nations. We're probably about to invade a 3rd. Look at all the laws they've passed. Look at all the things they've done. They're spying on their own citizens. They can torture innocent civilians and call them enemy combatants. You really have to ask yourself, would we be where we are right now without 9/11?
Bottom line, 9/11 is an inside job. It's a self-inflicted wound. It's a false flag terror operation.
Let us never tolerate outrageous conspiracy theories concerning the attacks of September the 11th.
Many say the official account doesn't add up.
Listen, sometimes truth is stranger than fiction.
And the questions keep coming.
As Sherlock Holmes was fond of observing, when you have eliminated the impossible, whatever remains, however improbable, must be the truth.
Right, and it actually went into the building there on the upper floor.
Yeah, going into the building. And I never saw that plane before. It's like something, I don't know, it's like they work with the mold. I never saw a plane like that before. Yeah.
Definitely towards the front. It definitely did not look like a commercial plane. I didn't see any windows on the sides.
That was not American Airlines. That was not an American Airlines. It was like a military plane.
It was a military plane.
It was like a military plane.
It was a military plane. Another building at the World Trade Center site collapsed. This time, without a plane ever hitting it. This is Building 7, in the shadow of the Twin Towers. Its collapse was captured on camera from several angles. The building had been evacuated and there were no casualties. With so much else going on that day, the event was barely reported.
World Trade Center Building 7 was brought down to controlled demolition. There's no other way to look at it. I'm saying look at the building falling. If the building is a controlled demolition, that's it. Okay, we don't need to speculate about who wired the building or why. The fact is the building was blown up.
The motive, it's argued, is that there was a secret command bunker in Building 7 from where the attacks were coordinated. It had to be demolished to hide the evidence. The Secret Service, Pentagon, and the CIA all had offices there. And there was a New York City command center on the 23rd floor on standby for civil emergencies. These are other buildings which were brought down by demolition charges. The collapse of Building 7 here looks similar.
Il rapporto della Commissione per l'11 settembre, infatti, evita addirittura di nominare l'edificio, come se non fosse mai esistito. Chi invece non sembra avere dubbi in proposito è Danny Jovenko, un olandese che si occupa proprio di demolizioni controllate.
De onderste verdiepingen gaan eerst.
Ja, en de rest zat er gewoon in. Dus dit is controlled demolition.
Zeker weten?
Zeker weten. Er is nagesprongen. Dit is in opdracht gebeurd. Dat heeft een team gedaan van experts.
Sempre a proposito dello strano crollo della torre numero 7, l'11 di settembre è accaduto un fatto molto curioso. Nella sua diretta televisiva di quel giorno, la BBC inglese ha dato la notizia del crollo della torre numero 7, che si chiamava anche Solomon Brothers Building, addirittura una ventina di minuti prima che questa crollasse.
Jane, what more can you tell us about the Salomon Brothers building and its collapse?
As you can see behind me,
Mentre la giornalista parla da New York, non si accorge che la torre numero 7 è ancora perfettamente in piedi.
we know that behind that there's an empty.
Sono infatti le 5 del pomeriggio e mancano circa 20 minuti al momento del crollo effettivo.
Financial prosperity of this city, but New York very much is.
La didascalia che compare sullo schermo in quel momento conferma il crollo avvenuto, mentre la torre, come si può vedere, è sempre perfettamente in piedi alle spalle della giornalista. Questo apparente paradosso in realtà ha una spiegazione abbastanza semplice. Quasi un'ora prima la CNN aveva già dato la notizia che la torre 7 era caduta o stava cadendo.
Thank you, sir, for joining us. We are getting information now that one of the other buildings, Building 7 in the World Trade Center complex, is on fire and has either collapsed or is collapsing. And
Naturalmente la torre 7 è ancora al suo posto. È quindi probabile che la BBC un'ora dopo abbia creduto che la torre fosse già caduta e quindi ha dato la notizia come se fosse già avvenuta. Ma come si poteva sapere del crollo dell'edificio addirittura un'ora prima che questo avvenisse, quando nessun edificio in acciaio al mondo era mai crollato per un incendio, e quello che aveva colpito la torre numero 7 non era certo dei più devastanti. Pare infatti che pompieri e polizia stessero facendo evacuare la zona addirittura dall'1 del pomeriggio, perché sapevano che l'edificio sarebbe stato demolito. Sentiamo alcune testimonianze dalla strada.
All I can attest to is that by noon or 1 o'clock, they told us we had to move from that triage site up to Pace University, a little further away, because Building 7 was going to come down or being brought down.
Did they actually use the word brought down, and who was it that was telling you this?
The fire department. And they did use the word, we're going to have to bring it down.
Keep your eye on that building as they're coming down.
Building is about to blow up. Moving back.
All right, guys.
We are walking back. There's a building about to blow up.
Yeah, here's one of the guys who can tell you I'm okay, all right? Here, hold on. You want to call your mother or something?
Right now. You gotta get back from here.
I know that. You gotta
get back.
All right. Don't worry about me. You need to make calls right now. All right. That's...
Right now. You gotta get back from here.
I know that.
You gotta get back.
All right. Don't worry about me. You need to make calls right now.
L'edificio 7 non è quindi crollato a causa di un incendio, come dice la versione ufficiale, ma sarebbe stato demolito intenzionalmente. Ma perché allora non raccontare subito la verità? E in quel caso, se le autorità americane ci hanno mentito per l'edificio numero 7, perché non dovrebbero averci mentito anche per tutto il resto?
World Trade Center 7 was brought down on September 11th at 5:20 in the evening. The leaseholder of the World Trade Center complex, Larry Silverstein, gave a public interview on PBS in 2002, and he said that they pulled that building, which is a demolition term for intentionally bringing down a building. This man made over $5 billion from those buildings' destruction, and I want to know if there was ever a formal investigation into Larry Silverstein, the leaseholder of the World Trade Center complex, and his ties to this entire event.
I don't believe there's been a formal investigation. I haven't heard that. I don't know that. I do know that that wall, I remember, was in danger, and I think that they made a decision based on the danger that it had of destroying other things, that they did it in a controlled fashion.
I remember getting a call from the fire department commander telling me that they were not sure they were going to be able to contain the fire. And I said, we've had such terrible loss of life. Maybe the smartest thing to do is pull it. And they made that decision to pull, and then we watched the building collapse.
I have not seen, until recently, a protected steel structure that has collapsed in a fire.
Chief Albert Turry told me that he was here after the events that took place this morning. He tried to get his men out as quickly as he could, but he said that there was another explosion which took place, and then an hour after there was another explosion in one of the towers here. So according to his theory, he thinks that there were actually devices that were planted in the building.
In order for the floor to fall down, thousands of joints would have to break simultaneously. And then if you look at the speed at which this came down, less than 10 seconds, you blink your eye and thousands of joints just popped somehow. The only way you can explain that is with explosives. They had to have had explosives placed all over the floors at the primary joints. And then that would explain how all of the joints broke at such a rapid rate. The debris was crashing from one floor to the next. Debris cannot crash through steel and concrete floors as fast as it falls through the air, and there was no slowing. Explosives had to be breaking the joints ahead of the falling rubble, which is why the top half starts off collapsing slowly, and then it starts picking up speed.
As I went up, I remember listening to small explosions on the upper floors, and these small explosions were not coming from the area of the impact. It was coming from lower floors.
And when the second plane hit the south tower,
we heard boom. When we heard boom, inside our building, the north tower, we heard pa 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 pa. And on the security radio, we heard, we lost 65, meaning the 65th floor collapsed. And as we went down the stairwells, you could hear the actual collapsing inside the buildings. You heard rumble, you heard the cracking of the walls, I mean pieces falling right next to us of the actual building.
Rudy Giuliani, mayor of New York, tells ABC's Peter Jennings that he was aware the towers would be coming down.
What is going on now is a massive rescue effort.
Do you believe it's hundreds or thousands?
I really don't want to say right now, Peter. I think it's going to be a horrible number. I saw people jumping out of the World Trade Center. I saw some of the firefighters who I know going into the building. And we were in a building in which we were trapped for about 10-15 minutes. And we set up headquarters at 75 Barclay Street, which was right there with the police commissioner, the fire commissioner, the head of emergency management. And we were operating out of there when we were told that the World Trade Center was going to collapse. The World Trade Center was going to collapse. It was going to collapse. It was going to collapse.
We see a video. You indeed said that the towers, you were notified the towers were going to collapse while you were in some... not sure exactly where you were prior to, but you said on ABC video with Peter Jennings in an interview that you were aware that towers were going to collapse in advance. We'd like to know who told you the towers were going to collapse in advance, sir, and also we'd like to know who else you told.
Well, the fact is that I didn't realize the towers would collapse. I never realized that. The fact is that I didn't realize the towers would collapse. I never realized that.
Do you still think that jet fuel brought down the World Trade Center? The tripod shakes 12 seconds before the North Tower begins collapsing. Watch carefully. In all the videos of the collapses, explosions can be seen bursting from the building 20 to 30 stories below the demolition wave. Here, here, and here.
We stuck on the stairs for a while. We finally got down to the lobby. Then we get to the lobby, there's this big explosion.
We really never even got to that close to the building. The explosion blew and it knocked everybody over.
This huge, incredible force of wind and debris actually came up the stairs, knocked my helmet off, knocked me to the ground.
At 10:30, I tried to leave the building, but as soon as I got outside, I heard a second explosion and another rumble and more smoke and more dust. I ran inside the buildings, the chandelier shook, and again, black smoke filled the air. Within another 5 minutes, we were covered again with more silt and more dust. And then a fire marshal came in and said we had to leave because if there was a third explosion, this building might not last.
I was about 5 blocks away when I heard explosions, 3 thuds, and turned around to see the building we just got out of, antenna tip over and fall in on itself.
And then all of a sudden it started like it sounded like gunfire, you know, bang, 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 and then all of a sudden 3 big explosions.
As we were getting our gear on and making our way to the stairway, there was a heavy-duty explosion.
About a block,
we made it at least 2 blocks, and we started running. Floor by floor, it started popping out.
It was if they had detonated.
Yeah, detonated.
Planned to take down a building. Boom, 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 boom.
All the way down. I was watching it and running.
But then there were other doors that were locked, so we were brought into another floor when there was another explosion, and they finally let us continue to go down.
What was happening around you? People screaming?
No, people were pretty calm. When we got down to 6th floor, there was like another shake or another explosion. Everyone started panicking.
He received word of the possibility of a secondary device, that is another bomb going off. There was another explosion which took place. According to his theory, he thinks that there were actually devices that were planted in the building.
Here, hold on. You want to call your mother or something?
They were coming out on the mezzanine level there, and another explosion came right from it, just everyone flying.
Heard reports of secondary explosions after the aircraft impacted, whether in fact there wasn't something else at the base of the towers that in fact were the coup de grace to bring them to the ground.
I did pass through a couple
there were people at their gas pumps who turned to look at the smoke that was coming from the city, folks stepping out of bodegas and stores to look. Now people are gathering in large groups. In fact, in one corner I saw a group of people actually holding hands and praying. As I stand on the Axe Bridge, which is closed, it is open to pedestrian traffic.
All of a sudden, a big impact happened again, and all the ceiling tile was falling down, the light fixtures were falling, swinging out of the ceiling, and I come running out the door, and everything, the walls were down, and now I started running towards the parking lots.
But before he got out of the building, he faced obstacles underground.
As I ran into the parking lots, you know, I mean, everybody's screaming. I actually helped somebody get to a staircase that had a broken leg. There was a lot of smoke down there. There was a lot of people screaming. People came with us running up the ramps. We wanted to get help for the people that couldn't move down there. Right in the basement, you felt it. Walls were caving in, everything that was going on. I mean, I know of people that got killed in the basement. I know of people that got broken legs in the basement. People that got reconstructive surgery because the walls hit them in the face.
We ran down the steps to the lobby. There was no lobby. Everything was torn up.
My boss ran out of the office. He said one thing, run. Everybody just ran. And we ran down the stairs. They told us to come back up the stairs. And we were like, come back up the stairs? Are you crazy? So we continued down the stairs. We came outside in the lobby. There was no lobby. The lobby was, we ran down the stairs. They told us to come back up the stairs. And we were like, come back up the stairs.
Sometimes I sit back and think to myself, and it's not that I'm contradicted, but I just feel like we're killing each other when we should be together. Help us.
How you living, black man? Now's a chance for us to stand united, cause divided we fall. We're killing ourselves for cash and fast cars, and the consequences death. A life behind bars, it's a liquor store in every corner. They got us fighting and killing each other, homie, just like they want us, and it's hard living in the ghetto. But when you make it about for so long, it's harder to let go. I shed tattooed tears for my niggas on the cell block, and say a prayer for the ones that's not. Believe it or not, but I can feel your pain. I know what it feels like trapped inside a cage. My homie got life, and guess why? He was trying to hit a lick to feed his wife and kids, and his kids don't know why he did what he did, since the woman he loved left when he went to the pen. Lord help him. Life seems so hard, I seem so hard. I'm a feeling like if I just believe in sin, I know I can't make it through it all. Life seems so hard, I seem so hard. I'm a feeling like if I just believe in sin, I know I can't make it. Bin Laden and Saddam brought terror to home. Malcolm got shot by one of his own, and Martin got killed for marching for you, and Malcolm got murdered for knowing his roots. Tyson Miller got killed in cold blood. The way the media put it, she had a handgun. The only way to make it true was the plan one. I can't ignore the truth. I want to answer. Why you sell us nicotine if we die from cancer? Why Big and Pac both died and ran and we in our last days? They cloning mammals, and the Pope got the whole world following this panel. I light candles for those who died in struggle. Sometimes we forget, but inside we love you. I made this for your seeds, just to show you that we the dying breed of fallen soldiers. Lord help us. Gotta take over office. They evil, born again, naked in the coffin. Believe they the devil when the sky's talking. Surprise, welcome to the new world order. Time's getting shorter, summer's getting colder. We dying younger instead of dying older. Sacrificing souls to be on the poster. We dead meat in the street, getting ate by vultures. Lord help us. Life seems so hard, I seem so hard. I'm a feeling like Lord help us. Lord help us. Lord help us. Lord help us.